Hi, it's Jez here from Nigezza.co.uk. Thank you for joining me today. So today I am doing a punch challenge that Tracy Fox set over on her Facebook group, Foxy Crafters. So I love my punches and I love old vintage books. So I recently got this book, all these beautiful images on the inside, and I have used my punches to cut them out, I've also used leaf punches, created all these little embellishments and toppers, clusters, and then I put them on some tags, and I even used punches to create the tags, and I do a little bit of ripping and collaging as well in here. So there's lots in this video, so do stick around and see how I created this lot. Okay, so I got this book recently, a couple of days ago. I saw it on the bookshelf in the charity shop, and I just saw this spine, and I thought, I was actually drawn to the word, well, I didn't see the Y, I just thought Potter. And I loved this because I do love Harry Potter, and I've just been to a photographic exhibition in London of behind the scenes photos of Harry Potter, and we have got the wands currently in Hull. Probably by the time this goes out the wands will have gone because we've only got them until Tuesday. So yeah, I was thinking Harry Potter, saw this, thought that would be fabulous. And I was just drawn to the cover. I wanted to make a journal using an actual book cover without making one myself. As you can see, it was £1.50. And so I looked through it, sort of opened it. And I was like, oh, that's interesting. I do like it when we have these bits. And I even like that as well. Some nice coloured plain paper there. Those are always useful to have in a journal. So it's the New Collector's Handbook of Marks and Monograms on Pottery and Porcelain. So I read that and went, oh, that sounds interesting. Liking all this, love that. And then I sort of flicked through, and then I came to this and I went, oh, wow. Wow, wow, wow. Look at all that. And I thought these would be absolutely brilliant. Sort of in collages, just finish off tags. No idea what most of them mean, but I just thought, oh, they're great, and I can use my punches and punch some of them out, or I could just rip them out, and the whole entire book is full of these things. And look at that. Oh, I love that. Oh, I hadn't noticed them. They're brilliant. Absolutely. So yeah, what an amazing find. So obviously I can only use half, so if I use that page, I don't use that page, but I just love it, and it's a nice colour, and I think there's enough in here to like last me forever. So yeah, so I am thinking so I thought I'd build a project around this, really. I'll probably even use the index pages for something. So yeah, what an exciting, love that. Yeah, so what an exciting find that was. So I am gonna, that is ripping already quite nicely, but I'm just gonna slip that down. So I am gonna take my craft knife. I can't see my craft knife for looking. That's because I've had a slight bit of a change around in my craft room. I got a new drawer set, so that involved changing things around. So it's already coming away a bit there, so I'm just going down there, being careful not to go into this section. So I'm putting my finger there. So this one's going to come apart quite easily because it's already, oh, Oh no, it's okay. I didn't go through. It's already quite battered. I know there'll be some people going, I don't know how you can do that. But, well, it was £1.50. I bought it for this reason. It's not a rare book. I found others. It was printed in the 50s. This edition was printed in 1952. The first edition was 1874. But this edition was 1952. So it will still be under copyright. So I can't copy it. And, you know, I quite like using original stuff. So that's that. So that is naturally folding back there. So I'm going to cut down there. And it's just coming away so easily. Sometimes book covers don't come away quite this easily. But this one is. There we go. So I have this cover, which I think is a really nice size for a journal. And I'd be inclined to get that off. I might try and get that off in some way. Or leave it on. It's quite a nice little addition. But yeah, so that is ready for a journal. What I like is when I do this, you can find the different signatures of the book. You can see where they're folded over. That's started another one. Do you know, I'm going to put my glasses on. But you can see along there that they are different signatures. That one started another one. So those pages are like stuck together a little bit. Right, so they are glued in there. But basically I can pull that, and there I've got that whole front section off, which makes it much easier to now use. And you can see they sort of pull out quite nicely. So I can get to that bit quite easily. I do like that. So that is how I would do it. So I can now find where that signature ends there, and I can cut the threads so we're not ripping. She says some bits are coming out easier than others. There. There we go. So that section's come out nicely. And then I can make a decision about which side of the page I want. And if this was out of copyright, this would be an easier way of copying it, but I guess the whole point of having a book out of copyright and scanning it is that you're not breaking it up. But it is quite handy then that you can pull apart. If you've cut the threads, then they all pull apart quite nicely. And I just think some of these would make good focal points on tags, and some will just be like little labels. So liking that. So I would sort of go through the entire book doing that, but I think I've got enough there to be going on with. And let's just sort of see what we might do. So I've pulled out my punches because I'm doing a challenge that was set by Tracy Fox to use our punches, and I have loads and loads of punches. These are all Stampin' Up! Punches, and I'm always buying them. I love them, and I never get rid of them. So these ones are retired ones, and they are beautiful shapes, and I just think they would make interesting little elements to, you know, add to a cluster, collage, whatever really, just a little accent. So I'm just looking through there to decide what I'm going to use. There's some nice little elements, but I'm always conscious of what's on the back as well, and some things are quite nice big sort of focal points which could be journaling cards on their own. So I'm just sort of going through and having a little look. So that's the square postage stamp, and I think some of these images will look perfect as a stamp. So just a little bit of inking around the edges, and you know, we're good to go really. We've got ourselves a nice little stamp that can go in a pot to be pulled out and used whenever it's needed. So I'm just getting a little storage case there, putting it there, job's good, and that one's done. So now looking at some of my other punches, some of the other shapes, and thinking what I can do. So some of those bigger shapes are perfect for the square, well, not the square, the rectangle postage stamp. That one is current, but it's hard to put through the punch when you've got the ragged edges, so I'm just making them straight now so that will slip nicely in the punch, and that's perfect for that big shape there. So again, I can ink around the edges and save that until such time as I need to use it. I quite like this, a little bit of sort of mass making, gathering lots of quick elements ready to use on a project, on a collage, on a masterboard, whatever I want. So now I'm just going to rip around that larger one there, which I think I'll use on a bigger project, maybe a focal point on a tag, or as a focal point on a journaling card. So I quite like ripped edges. I know it's not punching, I'm supposed to be using punches, but I needed to save that so that I've got it for future. I think I don't know, I presume it's written in Latin, I don't know, but no idea what it says. So now I'm just sort of looking around what other things I could have. That square postage stamp punch is really good. It's a nice shape, and it seems to fit quite a lot of these images, but some of them are much smaller, so you can actually use your punches and change the size a bit. So I'm just trying to sort of work out there what to do with that one. So that's my everyday label punch. So I was thinking about just using that there like that, so that we've got a nice decorative edge at the top, and then I decide to make the bottom edge like a postage stamp. So you've got the top and bottom a little bit different, but that's quite a nice little shape there, so quite pleased with that. So it is just a matter of looking at your punches and seeing how you can make them, use them differently. So that one is too small for the punch, but then I think, well, actually it might be quite nice having those sort of edges around. I was going to make it smaller, but I decided to leave it like that. I might in the end make it smaller, but right now I'm going to keep it that way. So looking on through, so this is just one double page spread that I've pulled out, and you'll be surprised at how much I get out of it. So liking that shape punch there, so looking for an image that I can use it with. So using it, I love that, just weird text, weird marks, and actually I could use either side of that after it's been punched out, so saving that for now. And now I'm looking at this punch, which isn't going to work, so trying another. And with this punch there's a slit and a hole, so it would ruin the other image, so I'm going to have to just trim this down so that I can feed it in and do that shape. And this is where I am changing the size of it, so by just feeding it back into the punch, then you're creating a whole new punch size that wasn't in the original. That one I want to make a stamp, so I've done the top bit and now I'm just going to do the bottom bit, so it's making it a smaller stamp, so a small rectangle. And again, that's something else you can do with your punches, just change the sizes of them, and you know, create new shapes. Some of these I will probably just rip and not use my punch, but I am just going ahead and carrying on doing that same postage stamp style on those, making smaller stamps. And this one I've decided I'm just going to rip. Okay, so that's the ones I've punched, and I'm thinking I'm getting out early espresso because I actually think they could do with a bit of a darker edging, because they've got, because it's like black printing. But I'll go around the edges. Like that, and then it sticks out a little bit better, I think. So there they are, all done now, and I do think they look better with the early espresso on the outside. So I was just looking there at that one that I'd made with lots of gaps, and that allows me to put that post mark on it. So quite like that. So I'm going to go and do that on a few of the other stamped images, and then I'm thinking need some more stamping on that. So I really like that new stamp set there that I've got, Ranunculus Romance. I love that sort of ledger print there. So with a bit of crumb cake, putting that over there, so it's giving it a much lighter impression on there. And I do like to do that where I just touch the paper to it, and then you get a little bit of an impression, not a full impression. So now I'm thinking I need dots. So looking for my quiet meadow that has a lovely spray of dots. So getting some, I think that's soft suede I'm using there, to add randomly dots around, just to give it a little bit of sort of more aging than it's already got. I mean, the book's like 70 years old, so it is old, but it hasn't got them dots. So now I'm looking at what else I could use in my pretty box there. I've got a video on covering that and making that. So these are some doilies that we're currently carrying. So there's three colours in there. There's that one, which is the basic grey. There's cinnamon cider, and there's Misty Moonlight. So I'm just taking a little bit off there adding it to the bottom of that one there, and that is creating a very nice little element there. And I was just showing you there in my little bottle there, I've decanted the Tombow glue into that little bottle, and I find it enables me to get around the edges, like the doily edges, and also I use a lot less. So that's a little bit of diamond weave sort of crocheted ribbon there. It's now retired from Stampin' Up. Love it so much. I was showing you there that I bought a second roll there when it was on clearance. So yes, I'm just going to stick that along the top of the doily, and there I'm just sort of inking the edges of it, because you can't have too much ink in. And I'm going to use a bit of Fabby Tack to stick that down in a minute. Here I'm just getting out a little bit of a scrap there. I knew I had this paper that had a bit of cinnamon cider in it so that it would go nicely behind. So just giving that a rip, and then I will give it an ink to sort of just put behind, just creating a little cluster really with the elements, and giving it a little bit of an age, because it was white and I don't want it white, I want it to look a bit older. So just fiddling with it until I decide what I like. So there's my Fabby Tack going along there. Tombow would actually stick that ribbon, but I've got the Fabby Tack, so I'll use it. And so putting that along the top edge, and now having a little bit more of a fiddle, and I do change my mind several times as I'm doing it, but that's how I roll. You just sort of try things out. Do I like it? Don't I like it? No, I don't. It's too big. Let's find a smaller one. Oh, and there, I like that one. So that's what we're going with. So just a matter of sticking them down, and that's another one done. So yeah, I really enjoy doing this sort of thing, putting them together, and that I'm just saying could go on the edge of a pocket, on the edge of a page. It doesn't have to go on a tag or a genuine card. It could be a piece of decoration somewhere else. So here I am just thinking of another thing to use, and I'm picking out a couple, having a little fiddle, a faddle, and then remembering that some of the punches layer nicely within themselves. So I'm just there punching out another piece and seeing how they look, and getting out another punch because I felt that one got a bit lost on the music paper. So now I'm getting out some paper. So these are our 6x6 papers that match our ink colours. That's soft suede, and I've used soft suede ink. So that particular punch has a slot at one side and a hole at the other. So I've just trimmed down a straight edge so I don't waste paper basically. So I'm looking at that layered up, thinking if I like that or don't. So I'm gonna punch it out of the that shape out of that, and there I've got two shapes, and oh, that's a nice happy accident. I can use those then to do that. So just sort of inking around that bit of DSP, and then after I've inked it, I think, oh, let's do some stamping on it. So I get that favourite stamp that I've got and stamp it on, and it's just perfect. It just gives a nice background to that punch out for those toppers to sort of sit on. So now I'm having a little fiddle, and I'm going to use the back end of that doily and give it an ink up. And then whilst inking up, killing two birds with one stone and putting that impression behind. So this is using soft suede as well. So then I thought, oh, it's getting a little bit lost. Soft suede on top of soft suede. So I've brought in Merry Merlot there, and just put a little bit of that on. So that will blend nicely with the ink that's already on there, and that just gives it a pop of colour. So I feel it needs another pop of colour on there just to sort of balance it out. just ripping a bit of the top down and giving it an ink around the edges. So, and then put a little bit of stamping on that doily as well. So quite liking that. And then I'm thinking, need a bit of ribbon on there to go behind. And we've got this faux suede ribbon, which is sort of early espresso colour. So that fits really nice with the colour palette that I have chosen to do these little clusters with. So I'm just flagging the end. So I've folded the ribbon in half, and then I'm just doing a little slanted cut, so give it a nice little tail to it. So I'm going to stick those in place. So that's my Tombow. I coloured the end of it green so that I know it's Tombow, because I've got other glue bottles with other glue in, so I don't want to get them muddled up. So a bit of feather tuck there again to put that ribbon on, and then stick that one down, and that'll be another one done. So I'm just so happy with this book that I got. That just such interesting, different sort of look to it. And the book was originally printed in 18 something. So this particular edition was printed in the 50s, but so it does date back quite old. Yeah, so there I am, just fiddling with this one, sort of deciding what I'm going to do on this, looking at some ribbon. That one's got a bit of gold in. I wasn't sure. I liked the background colour, but I sort of cut it up, flagged it. I don't use it in the end, just letting you know that whilst you're watching it. If I was doing something with a bit of bling, it would work. And then I remembered I've got this ribbon here, which I like, and it's got like green sort of window pane print on it. So liking that. So doing the same sort of flagging on that, and then because it's got green in it, I will bring in some green ink to give it a bit of a green. It's the same green that's in the ribbon. That's what I'm using to sort of tie all that in, and then it's just a matter of sticking that all together. So that is it. Just, I mean, it's just your imagination, isn't it? It's just having a play, deciding what goes where, what will look right. And even as I put it together, I changed my mind, so like pop that up slightly higher. So yeah, just you could do these sort of things whilst watching the telly. I really enjoy it. Okay, so these are what I've ended up with, and I'm really pleased with how they've turned out, and they can just go in a pot waiting to be used. And then off camera I had a little bit of a play with how to use these sort of postage stamps, and what I did was I pulled out a little bit of an envelope, and I sort of put them on there as if they'd just been ripped off an envelope, which I really like the look of that. This one hadn't already had the postage mark stamped on it, so that it was able to go over the edge, whereas this one I'd stamped on it, so I put it right to the edge there as if I'd ripped it off. So I'm going to just show you what I did there. I've got a piece here that's not been stamped on, so I can use that, and then I've got a bit there that has been stamped on. That one, don't really notice that it's not on there. I could put that just to the edge there and it would be all right. So if I rip that edge there, get rid, and put that over there, it looks like it's the envelope's ripped that bit off, and it doesn't matter. Can freehand rip, you can rip with a ruler. Just like to get a little bit of a rough edge. I'm going to rip the top because you often like rip over an envelope, don't you? I don't anymore. Even Ed's learnt to to do it with a knife because I like my nice straight edges. So that can go on there, and I say it looks like you've literally just ripped it from the envelope, and then that's a nice little bit to go on top of something. So that's quick and easy, and then obviously you can ink around the edges as I've done there. And then this one that hasn't been stamped on, I can just put that there. So let's rip down there, rip along the top, and you know, you can use envelopes of any colour that you want. I say this is an actual envelope from junk mail, and you know, they are junk journals. I do like making them out of actual junk that you would throw away. But obviously I use new things as well because I've got nice new doilies and DSP and stuff. So that's that, and then I can take my postmark stamp, and I did early espresso, didn't I? Could tell that's really dark, and then I can just stamp that then there, and it also goes on my bit of an envelope, so it basically looks like I've ripped it off. So that is what I did there. And then I decided that it would be a good idea to show you how to use them. So I created, again using punches, I created these tags, and I was experimenting with sort of doing this sort of collaging. So I'm going to quickly show you how I did that before I decorate the tags with these. So this was a scrap of designer series paper. So this was Beauty of the Earth, and so I've got here, it's called Pretty as a Peach, something like that. And I quite like, sort of chose one that sort of like had plainer on the back but was complementary. So that had this leafy pattern on one side and this sort of blue pattern on the other. So this is a 6x6 sheet. I think the one I used on these to make these was slightly smaller. So I'm going to talk you through the beginning bit and then I'll speed it up. So basically what I did was I used my ruler and I just ripped and then turned it over and glued that down on the other side. So Tombow is good for this because it's quick drying. So just a little sliver along there and glue it right to the edge. So we've got another 6x6 sheet there. Okay, does stick quite quickly. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to rip a bit off there. And then I'm going to stick that on that side now. So just, you can turn your sheet over. You could have it like that. I'm going to stick with it like that. So it's just a matter of sort of mixing, matching. And that's why this Stampin' Up! DSP works really well, because the back side has colours on it that complement the other side. So that's going down there like so. Bit of dry baby wipe is quite good at this, so if it oozes out you're not going to get too sticky. Get that down there. And then it was just a matter of keep on doing that. Keep on ripping bits off and sticking them in other places. So until eventually you get some teeny tiny strips. So that can now go there. It's getting a little bit matchy, so I don't want to do that. So we'll go that way for that way. And then eventually you've got some really, really tiny bits, as you can see in this. So I'm going to now speed up and see me finishing this off. So that's it finished, and you could choose either side that you wanted, and you notice I didn't ink any of the edges because that would take a really long time, and it's not necessary because you can now use a blending brush and ink now, and all these raised edges will pick up the ink, and it will be as if you'd inked the edges, and it also colours the white background there and makes it look a little bit more vintage. So that's why I don't ink as I go along. I'll do it now. And I've done this method with like book pages and magazine pages, and it's the first time I've done it with designer series paper, pattern paper, and I really like it. And we're coming to the end of the annual catalogue, so this paper is going to be retired very soon, and I thought what a brilliant way of using it up. So as you can see there, that's got nicely inked round the edges, and you've got these nice torn edges there that I ripped them so they had the white core, and that's picking up the colour of the ink. So there we have that. So now we want to make them into tags. So I've got this lovely punch here. This is the delightful tag topper punch, and it makes tags 1 inch wide, 1.5 inches wide, and 2 inches wide. So I'm going to do some 2 inch wide ones, but I'm going to neaten up these edges first. So I'm just going to trim that off there, and now I've got a straight side going up there. It's still slightly tacky on the back, but that's okay. So I'm just going to turn this into nice straight edges to create our tags with. Had I already done that one? It's not straight. There we go. So now I've got a nice square, and I want to just brush that on the floor. Well, there's nothing really new there now, is there? So to fit this, I'm going to do a nice 2 inch tag. So there at 2 inches. I think I want one with a bit more flat. We'll go that way. See, that's the beauty. You can just go any way, up, down, turn around, any way you want. So there we go, 2 inches. And then that I might do I did another 2 inch. What I did on the other one was I did a little journaling card. I'm just wondering if I take 1 inch off to make a really thin one. Got a nice size tag there. let's do that. Let's see what a tiny, tiny little 1-inch one might look like. So that's that. So I backed them on with coffee. I got tea dyed, coffee dyed, I'm not sure. So I just glued this for the back so that you've got a nice plain edge for journaling on. So just get a old magazine here. I like to go all over with a glue stick so that my edges are well covered. And then I like to use Collaging glue for this because it gives it a little bit of extra stiffness. I mean, DSP is about, I don't know, what is it, about 160 GSM, so it's not exactly light, but this glue adds a little bit of extra to it. Try and put my pin in there. So now I'm just gonna whip that away, stick that down, give it a flatten with a bone folder or a loyalty card, whatever you've got. And what I quite like is you give it a good burnish down, you'll get some of the lumps and bumps from the collaged paper. So I quite like that for then. I'm going to ink it up in a minute. So we can just put my ruler on the edge of the tag and just rip that off. Didn't do that very well there, did I? And rip it off there. There we go. And then on the back side there, you just take your blending brush. It's picking up a little bit of those ridges. It's also picking up a lot of the glue that was just randomly there, but I quite like that. Quite like that. I might just trim that bit there that didn't rip very well. And then I'm going to do this bit as the top because that's really little and that might then come off. So I've got bigger pieces there. So just put that. That helps if you open your punch, Jez. So that just goes all the way down there and it gives us that nice tag top shape there. It's slightly wider than 2 inches. Well, I didn't fit it right, but that's that. And then you can round the corners as well. I'm just gonna, I've got a small rounded corner rounder which I do prefer with this tag topper. So there we go. So that is how I made that one. We've got one here that's 1 inch, so we can put that in the inch, and then that will make a small one. What I might do is make 2. So, and then I'll just chop that in half. Eyeball that for about half. Too many tags, one minier than the other. And then for this one I used the trio punch. So we've got a little hole there, so that's going to go up the center. So feed that in, eyeball it to be in the center. And we've got a hole there for our tag, and then we can use the corner punch to punch our corners. Going to do the bottom as well. This is Temperamental. Discovered that mine is probably needs sharpening or something. But hey ho, I'll just trim those bits off. Worked on the top, not on the bottom. There we go. So Temperamental. And then we've got this sort of decorative edge, which I just put down there, give it a little bit of an interest there at the bottom. So that's how I created these tags. So now they can get decorated with what I've made. And here I sort of made that. So I took a bit of the coffee dyed paper, made the hole. So if I go up there, make my hole, and then I took this punch and I fed it in and eyeballed it where it was kind of in the middle. I didn't do it very well, as you will notice on this one. I think I've done it slightly better on that one, just to make an interesting sort of tag topper shape there. That's how I did that. So these all need inking up and then decorating, so I'll just speed it up whilst I'm inking. So they're all done. You'd have noticed I started inking these and I hadn't backed them, so I rectified that. And can you see that you've got ridges on there? Not sure if you can see that. So there we go, and I stuck that top bit on there. And you might want to do reinforced holes, and you can do that with punches as well. So I'm just going to get some coffee dyed paper, and you just need a really small hole punch. I've got a crocodile here, so I'm just going to put some holes in here. How many do I need? 4. I think I might be able to get 4 out of here. Definitely get 3. So I've got a little 1/2 inch circle punch, and going to punch that. I didn't punch very well. It's because it's paper. Sometimes your punches don't like if your paper's too thin. There we go. And that's not, but it's okay because I don't mind it a bit raggedy. Just seems to be that top edge it's not liking. There, I'll get one more out of the space there. Great, again, use up your scraps. You can, of course, I've got like hole reinforcers, white sticky ones. There, that one worked. So it's just no rhyme or reason sometimes. They work really well as well. Just, you know, the ones you buy in a stationer's, and then I just ink them up. There we go, and they can go, okay, that one's got a little bit of a rip on, not bothered, and they can go on there as well. And I just put little bits of ink, glue even around the edges. Just do these two. And then just place them over the hole. And they'll stick nicely. And it's a real faff to ink up these little hole reinforcers because they're so small. But we can use that same trick again and just go over with the blending brush once it's stuck down, and then it inks it. Okay, and you can put them on the other side as well if you want. The other side, it's quite nice to do it in a colour. So I've got a scrap somewhere around here. Yeah, so I've got a little scrap of that I've used for other things, so you can do it with a scrap of your pattern paper that you've used, then it will kind of match as well. So just put that in there. It's quite small now. Try and eyeball it so it's as close to the middle as possible. And that is how you could get a coloured one for the back, which I always think looks quite nice. So I'm going to finish those off and then we'll decorate. So they're all finished off and they've got their green ones on the back, and I made a green version of that for the back there. And then for decorating, as well as the things that I've already made and the doilies, I've also got a leaf punch. I've got other leaf punches as well, but I really like that leaf there. I think that's nice. It kind of goes quite well with the leaves in this paper. It does punch a small one as well, but I actually just want this one mainly. So I'm going to cut some strips. So I'm measuring there, what do I want? 1.5 inch strip will work with that. So on this bit of green scrap I've got here, I'm going to cut 1.5 inch strip so that I can just feed it in and just cut this one leaf there, and that will go nicely behind, I think, the little labels that I have created. Definitely get 3 out of here. There we go. And then I've got little scraps for making hole reinforcers. Okay, so they are cool. Like them. I might make some more. I have my doily bits that I can use, and I've got some topper bits that are already made, so I can start deciding where things can go on here. So let's pull some of them out. So let's look at the ones that are already made up. So you could put these on. I mean, that's sideways, but I don't think that that necessarily matters. Again, that one's sideways. I think that's quite big. I think that work on there quite nicely. And yes, that's sideways on. So in hindsight, I could have stuck it on the other way around if I knew what I was using it on. But I can recreate that with one of the different ones to go on like that. I quite like that. I think I might well do that and just take one of these squares that I haven't used and stick it on the other way. So I might do that. These, I don't think it matters which way up these necessarily are. I like the fact that it's got a bit of green ribbon, but it is getting a bit lost, which is where I thought then by sticking some leaf behind it, it's going to work. And I might put a little bit of blue doily as well, and that will decorate that one quite nicely. Just wondering if the colour of that goes nicely. That one's a different colour envelope, which I think might work a little bit better with that. Quite liking cinnamon cider with this, so could put a bit of doily under there, add green leaf coming down there, and there it's nicely decorated. So that is how I'm going to utilise these bits and bobs to decorate. I'm liking Misty Moonlight with that, and I haven't used that, so I might use that with a bit of Misty Moonlight underneath and a couple of leaves on there. So I'm going to get those decorated and then we'll be done. So there they are, all done. So that's everything that I've done with my punches for the challenge set by Tracy Fox. So yeah, I'm quite pleased with how they turned out. So I've got lots of little embellishments there that I can use for different things, and then I've shown how they can easily be added to a tag. And apart from the doilies and the ribbon, everything's punches. So there's that one. So even that bit's a punch. Did a bit of doily print on the other side. I do like doing that. They're similar, so I kind of recreated that one, but on its side to go on that tag. A bit more of doily printing on the other side. And there's another one, so that's like it's been ripped off an envelope. Do like the way that looks. And then these little ones that I just went back in with my postage punch, and to get just these little elements there, some punched twig leaves behind, a bit of doily, and there we are. That's it done. So so yeah, I shall post some pictures over on my blog, nigezza.co.uk. I'll link down below for the punches that are still current, that you can buy. I did use the square one, that's not current, and that's not current, but you can buy all the others that I used. So yeah, hope you enjoyed that, and I'll see you again soon.